And a special thank you to former Evolve champion AR Fox, ladies and gentlemen. Cool peoples. Just a very awesome insight of his just thoughts on WWE, his thoughts on the the importance of social media, the important how that brands people. So all those things are really, really interesting. And so thank you so much, AR Fox, for your wonderful insight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on the Wrestling Inc. Facebook. Join us there. Join us, of course, through the Pancakes hashtag. Of course, follow at Crave Wrestling on Facebook. And, of course, join the Facebook fan page, Crave Wrestling. There is so much to talk about tonight. We got the Superstar Shakeup. We got Cena-Bella. We got Rusev. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, let's get it right going. Co-host with the most, Evan Tech Proud. What a crazy weekend and past couple days. We got so much to talk about. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Good to be back on the airways with you. Shout out to AR Fox, good old buddy of mine. He's hung out tons of times locally at shows. Really proud of him, man.
Yes.
Always. AR Fox, brother Shane Strickland, who's better known as Kill Shots and Legion Underground. To him at WrestleMania weekend. Good buddies of mine. I've been following them for the past 4 or 5 years, even before they got noticed. So.
Yeah. Now both of them are uberly popular now. So, yeah, it's awesome, man. It's that's what happens when you grind.
Don't forget the great intro. You got the clip of Kevin Nash.
Absolutely.
Where the big boys play.
We ain't here to play.
Let's not forget. Nash also said the adjective play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Play is an adjective, it's a verb. But it's all good, Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely. That's good old Nash for you. So this is a segment I used to do on the show called Last Week's Errors. We did this years ago, where we used to just be real stat heavy, and we used to the next show we would do the errors of last show. This probably was about 5 years ago or so. Derek and I used to do that. And so just because the show was so so in depth and so much that segment just kind of faded out. But we bring it back every now and then, and I'm gonna bring it back now because I've got some messages about that throughout the week. And so I'm going to talk about one error from last week. Of course, I do trivia every week, and I'm going to do trivia here in just a moment. One of the trivia questions was, who did The Undertaker compete against at WrestleMania 21? And I accidentally put up Kane, and that was not the correct answer. The Kane was the year before. So the correct answer was indeed Randy Orton. Randy Orton was the correct answer of who competed against the Undertaker at WrestleMania 21. So that was the error from last week, and I'm going to make it more fan interactive. Tweet at Crave Wrestling or tweet me personally at Chris Prolific if you listen to the show and there was an error I think that's the only time in 6 years that a trivia question has been mistakenly inaccurate. I had the card for Randy Orton, but I put up the wrong card. So have the correct answer, just put up the wrong card when I did the correct answer. So if there's any error from the previous week, whether it be when someone won a world title, if we were having Evan and I were having some random discussion, if it was someone's debut, I said Survivor Series and it was really SummerSlam, anything like that, tweet at Crave Wrestling. If there's any errors that you tweet, I will give you a shout out I will give your hashtag a shout out, and I will say the error, and I will correct the error. So, that's how big boys play. So, yes, that's right. That's absolutely right. Well, let's. Oh goodness. Oh, poor Shelton. Poor Shelton. I mean, we got so much to talk about with the Superstar Shakeup, but why would they do that to Shelton Benjamin? I just think that's a bad call. I mean, Shelton Benjamin, as amazing as Shelton Benjamin is in the ring, one of the best, one of the purest, most solid, just amazing in-ring workers in the entire WWE. I mean, just run circles around anybody in the ring. Amazing athlete, but that's always been his Achilles heel. That's always been the Achilles heel of Shelton Benjamin. The dude cannot cut a promo to save his life, and he needs something. I mean, that's the reason why I think him and Chad Gable was good, because Gable was actually good on the mic. So it actually was a good balance for Shelton Benjamin because they both are very good in the ring. Gable was smaller. Benjamin is quite a big dude, and so it was a good balance. They both were athletic, collegiate athletes, blah blah blah. Benjamin being the having the team angle. A lot of people compared the world's greatest tag team to Team Angle, anyways. Or even speculation that Angle may manage them. That was talks for a hot second. So Benjamin teaming with Gable was a good way to, have that type of balance between the two, because Gable's actually pretty good on the mic, but Benjamin by himself, it wouldn't surprise me if he's another Heath Slater, Apollo Crews, just someone who's just there. I don't see, honestly, as good as he is in the ring, I don't see any bright future for Shelton Benjamin at all.
Get a manager.
Yes.
That's all he needs.
Yeah.
I mean, Brass is over, but he needs Heyman.
Yep. Otherwise, he would say, "Paul, say something stupid." No.
I'll see my thoughts for SmackDown when we do reviews.
Yeah, there's so much. Right, there's so much. Yeah. First trivia question on deck is: who won the United States Championship at WrestleMania 20? Now, this week there's going to be a couple of WrestleMania questions, but I'm going back to old school. I'm doing random questions. I try to give everybody a kind of a leg up, so to speak. But now going back to the hard old school trivia questions. They're going to come from anywhere and everywhere. So we'll see how smart you are. Live stream. Got a comment. I like. Yeah. Nice. Absolutely. It's going to be lots of fun, and you guys and gals better get suited up and rooted and ready, because it's going to be a question. It's going to be tough. Got a question, a comment. I like Shelton for the first run. He had the gold standard. Feels so bad for him. Yeah, I like the gold standard run too. At least there was some type of character there. Especially when he was in ECW. I think he had the ability to become ECW champion, but now, yeah, it was like a more athletic Butch Reed character. Absolutely. Good job, Travis. Yeah, Cena. Every time, most of the time when we say his name on the show, it has to be the Justin Roberts one. Yeah, I'm Cena. Yeah.
Go back to that T-bone, that jumping
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't work.
I like the T-bone too. I like the T-bone too. Got a question. What did you like and dislike about WrestleMania? Oh, wow. The short version of that is listen and watch last week's show. That's we spoke in depth about WrestleMania. Both Evan and I were there live. Yeah. So the biggest thing I'll say just one thing. The biggest thing I liked was very impressed with Ronda Rousey. Biggest thing I disliked was Nicholas. We'll talk about that. Nicholas winning the tag team championships and the beach balls. So the beach balls, WrestleMania, Reigns versus Lesnar was a good match if you look at it, but the fans crapped all over it. And I'll say this again. I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Beach balls are absolute trash because you have the wrestlers in the ring who bust their butts to make sure to get a reaction, to get an ovation, to entertain the fans. And if fans crap on it by throwing beach balls and just disregard matches to put themselves over, you have no business being in the arena. So I stick to that. And now, if you want to listen, if there's a dark match, if there's a dark match and there's a half an hour, 45-minute time frame in between, a dark match and Raw. Hey, you know what? Fill the arena with beach balls. Have the greatest time in the world. Have beach ball mania every single week, non-televised. But when people are busting their butts and literally risking their lives, I mean, there's people who've died in the ring. There's people who've been paralyzed and still is paralyzed, in the ring for someone else for the sake of pleasing fans. So if people have been paralyzed and have died in a ring to please a fan, and they crap on a match by throwing a beach ball, and Roman Reigns got busted open the hard way. So, listen, I don't like it. I'm as many wrestlers as I know now and have kept in close contact with since this show. I am a strong advocate for professional wrestlers now. I've interviewed over 100 wrestlers. I don't even know, 110, 20, 30 wrestlers in the 6 years of this show. Kept in contact with a whole bunch of them to understand just how much they don't like that and how much they feel that way. I'm speaking for a lot of wrestlers I've talked to and kept in close contact with. They don't like it. They don't like it. Yeah, they don't like it, and I can totally understand why. I mean, you come out there, you bust your butt for the fans just for them to disregard you and crap on the match. Absolutely, absolutely unacceptable. So that was the Go ahead. Yeah, but you can't blame Reigns and Lesnar for WWE's crap booking.
No, I don't. People look. I defend Brock, and I'm not the biggest Brock fan. I defend Brock.
Me either.
So much on my show.
Mm-hmm.
But still, they make money. What they do in the ring, they sacrifice. You can't put it on them.
No.
I just feel the match itself.
I don't think the match was bad, though. I think the match was a solid match. I think the crowd gave up on the match really before it even started. So that's what made it so bad.
And it's not their fault. I just think the fans are just emotionally exhausted. They just, you see Brock. F5, C-flex. And then Reigns, Reigns doesn't have the same match. And Reigns always has a good match with everybody.
Yeah, he's solid. Yeah, absolutely.
What bad matches does Reigns have? Reigns has
as a matter of fact, that's a good question. That's a good question. I'm going to reiterate that question from you to the chat and to the people listening on Twitter. When's the last bad match that Roman Reigns had? I'll sit here and wait for an answer. I have a match that was. I think that his match against Randy Orton back at SummerSlam of what was that 14? That match was bad. that was a bad match. It was a very green Roman Reigns, and I think that was SummerSlam of 14, if I'm not mistaken, because Orton won, cashed in the title of SummerSlam of 15, I believe. So that's the last match I can say that Roman Reigns had a bad match, and that was SummerSlam of 14, almost 4 years ago. So if anybody else having a more current match that Roman Reigns had an actual bad match, let me know. Yeah. Right. Right.
I like the randomness of the beach balls to me was hilarious. I know the fans crack on Brock and Reigns, but just it's stuff like that makes Mania memorable. And I feel like with the beach balls, even though we know wrestlers personally, I know they hate it. It's funny because it overshadows the Belgian brothers winning. And
yeah.
Nicholas, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we have Nicholas, we have the Belgian brothers, whatever you call them, the Hammer brothers from my girlfriend called them the Hammer brothers from Mario, and then the Beach Boys.
Yeah, yeah, but that's the thing though. That's not. I mean, it's memorable for some people in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, and that takes away to me, that takes away the essence of wrestling. You go to a wrestling show and you say, hey, the most memorable thing of the wrestling show was when we threw beach balls. You're not at some type of beach ball, volleyball game. You're in a wrestling show. To say, hey, it wasn't a match, it was beach balls. You know, it's ridiculous. And again, I'm advocating the wrestlers, and people don't like it, and I understand why. So, yeah. Next question.
Back at it, Brock and Goldberg was a great match last year.
It was a very good match. Yeah.
Brock is a monster. It's like Godzilla against Rodan or King Kong. They're big monsters.
I think the placement helped that last year, though. It was a placement thing last year, and it was a short match too. Long Brock matches nowadays just don't work out. It was a short match. It was placed right. It wasn't the main event. And yeah, I mean, Brock hasn't main evented since 31, because 32 he went against Dean Ambrose, 33 he went against Goldberg. So it's been three years since he's main evented. And those matches have been, I mean, him and Ambrose was not good, because Ambrose publicly said that Lesnar didn't want to work with him as far as creatively, so that's unfortunate. Here we go. Next question on deck. Booker T and RVD retained the World Tag Team titles at WrestleMania 20 against the Dudleys, Cade and Jindrak, and blank. There's a fill in a blank answer, ladies and gentlemen. Booker T retained the World Tag Team titles at WrestleMania 20 against the Dudleys, Cade and Jindrak, and blank. So you fill in the blank. Who is the blank team? All right, so let's get into the headlines. Let's get through these headlines real quick, because we got a lot to talk about with this Raw and SmackDown Superstar Shakeup, the highs, the lows, in my Evan and I's opinion. So let's get into the headlines. All right, so this is unfortunate for Nikki-Bella and John Cena, but they broke up after 6 years. Last year they had a really nice and sappy moment on WrestleMania 33 with John. He proposed to Nikki and Nikki said yes. It seemed like such a work. It seemed like such a work. And so they had a wedding scheduled for the beginning of May. I think it was the first weekend of May in Mexico. And apparently, reportedly, a source told people that John Cena had cold feet, and they broke up, so they're no longer together. Travis is on it tonight. La Resistance. Yeah. La Resistance. Next trivia question before we get into Cena and Bella. Cena-Bella. What former WWE star was known as the Ugandan Giant? What former WWE star was known as the Ugandan Giant? I was a big fan of this guy's entrance music as well. Yeah. So Cena and Bella, it was one of those things. I followed the first season of Total Divas, and my wife started following more seasons of Total Divas. And when I was, when I wasn't working in my office and I was just sitting down watching, getting something to eat with her in the living room. Good job, Jamie. All right, looks like there's some type of competition going on here in the chat as far as trivia. Looks like Jamie has a point. Kamala. Looks like Travis has a couple points. Jamie has a point. Y'all keep track of points in the chat room. Here's the next question. Who won the 2006 King of the Ring? Who won the 2006 King of the Ring? I like the 2006 King of the Ring winner. The King of the Rings toward the end. It wasn't.
The great one from 99.
99, was that Billy Gunn? 99. Yeah. Or Edge was what, 90? Well, okay. Let me. Good job, Travis. Booker T was the correct answer. Granny said, "I know it was a total work. Looked like it to me. Yeah, it was a work." All right, so let me go through the years. So 93, and this is off the top of my head. So get ready. Last week's errors, the error patrol. Okay, so 93 was Brett. 94 was Owen. 95 was it Mabel? Yeah. 96 was Austin. 97 was Triple H. 98 was Shamrock. 99 was Billy Gunn. 2000 was that Edge? Was 2000 Edge or 2001 Edge? 2000 was Angle. 2001 was Edge. 2002 was Brock. Yep. And so they didn't have a tournament for like a couple years after that, right? Because and then 06 was Booker T. And then Regal won in 07, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm thinking of 07.
Yeah. And then Sheamus won like 10 or 11. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Let's see the results here. Regal, yes, Jamie saying, yeah, I think Regal won in 07, I think it was. Because they tried to make it, they tried to give Regal a really big push, and then he had a policy violation, so they had to take that push away. They tried to give him one more push because he ended up getting in shape and everything. Okay, here we go. So we're counting the pay-per-views. So from 93 on, Barrett was 15. Yeah, good job. Okay, so this is all the pay-per-views. Well, I'll say all of them now. 85 Morocco, 86 Harley Race, 87 was Randy Savage. 88 was Ted DiBiase. 89 was Tito. 91 and 93 was Brett. And so we were right about the other ones, the pay-per-view ones. Owen, Mabel, Austin, Triple H, Shamrock, Billy Gunn, Angle, Edge, Lesnar. And then 06 was Booker T. 08 was Regal. In 2010, like I said, 2010 was Sheamus. And then 15 was Barrett. Barrett. And there is the Barrett one. That wasn't because he ended up being King Barrett, League of Nations and all that. But yeah, the last few ones just wasn't very good. But the good news is it's coming back. It's going to be a tournament on the feature on the WWE Network. So I'm a big fan of it. I used to love the King of the Ring pay-per-views, and we'll see. Hopefully, it actually helps propel someone's career. Unlike the last few of them, was just kind of like meh. So we'll see. All right, next question on deck before we get to more Cena and then Rusev. Who are the members of the Disciples of Apocalypse? How about that one? Who were the members of the Disciples of Apocalypse? The DOA. The DOA. So yeah, I mean, like I said, Cena and Bella was the work, and I was talking about watching Total Divas with my wife from season 1 on. I just didn't really get into it that much after the first season. It wasn't a bad show, but it was just already watch and cover so much wrestling, period, and then I really lost my interest. But the saga between Nikki Bella and John Cena was always one of the features of Total Divas. So and it was quite clear and quite obvious that Cena, he was only married with his first wife, this high school sweetheart. They married in like 3 years later, I think. Cena filed for divorce. He got cold feet in that marriage too. He blamed, his wrestling career for the demise of his marriage. There was, his wrestling career can mean many of things. It can mean that he was putting his wrestling career before his family. It can mean that he was putting wrestling relationships before his family, because there's been a lot of talks of Cena messing with some people back in the day, about 10 years back. So, I mean, there's a few variables of why Cena could have, pulled out of the marriage. But because of that fear that Cena had, Mr. Never Give Up Cena, he was talking about Nikki Bella and got a question real quick. Any word if they would bring Queen of the Ring? I've heard about that. I've heard some discussions about that. But as far as I know, as far as I've heard, hasn't been anything solid about that. I mean, they have the Mae Young Classic. I don't understand why they would have a Mae Young Classic that's an all-women's tournament, and then a Queen of the Ring, which is another all-women's tournament. I understand that Mae Young Classic is more for upstarts, but to me, 2 women's tournaments are just overkill. And I've said this before through Twitter. I was having a very good conversation about Twitter. Someone asked me what I think about that, just as far as if they would have what are my thoughts if they would bring a Queen in the Ring back. And here's my thoughts. It gets to the point where if you do all of these female-based events, to me it kind of defeats the purpose, because if you clunk all these female events, the female Royal Rumble, the female Elimination Chamber, if you do all that, it just has that feel of a desperate PR move. So it it just loses its magic. You know what I mean? I remember when Charlotte and Sasha Banks had, their match in the Hell in a Cell, and that was amazing. But you start doing all these first ever WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, although they had Miss WrestleMania 25, but I guess, there's a timeline of you're just supposed to forget WWE matches. But it's just first ever the past year or so. If you keep doing these first evers, it just really loses the magic of just women's wrestling evolving and becoming such a prominent part of WWE. So, I would steer clear from that, just clunking all these first evers. So, which, there is talk that Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey is going to be the main event at WrestleMania 35. I think if there's any two people, I think that would be, that would make the most sense of being the main event. So, but I mean, I'm not necessarily thrilled about that being the main event. Rousey's going to have to do. Rousey was amazing at WrestleMania, but in order to have a main event style match with a good story behind it for people to really sink their teeth in, it's going to take a lot of wrestling training from Ronda Rousey. Although she's picking it up very quick, so kudos to her for that. Yeah, she's picking it up very quick. I don't see any answers yet. What's up, Trivia Kings? Who were the members of the Disciples of Apocalypse? That is the trivia question on deck right now. So, Evan, this crazy, weird Rusev story. So he was announced last week to go against Taker in a casket match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which is a pretty solid card so far. So there was a Bury Me Softly tweet. There was a TMZ interview with him and Lana. Then all of a sudden, WWE says, oh, okay, well, now it's going to be Chris Jericho. Now, Chris Jericho was originally supposed to be in the Battle Royal, so it's not, he didn't cause Chris Jericho to appear. It just switched his role. So Jericho was supposed to be out. So Jericho went out of the Royal Rumble into the casket match with Taker. Jericho played it a bit, and so yesterday they announced that Rusev is back in the casket match. So very odd. I definitely don't think this was something that the WWE originally planned as far as just the announcement is concerned. To me, and Taz shared this on his podcast. He said he feels that the good job, Skull, A-Ball, Chains, and Crush is the correct answer. Skull and A-Ball, the Harris brothers, of course. Chains was Brian Lee, or primetime Brian Lee, and the original Machka, the original Machka, Crush. So yeah, I mean this wasn't planned. I mean, it's quite obvious that this wasn't planned for them to say, okay, we'll take Rusev out of the match, put Jericho in the match, and then put Rusev back into the match and Jericho out. It seems as if, and I think Taz makes a good point here. I think that Rusev probably ruffled some feathers in the WWE creative department, and maybe they were like, you're gonna have to this opportunity, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity to compete against the Undertaker. Undertaker's last casket match. Well, there you go. Impromptu question. What year was the Undertaker's last casket match? I was about to say the answer, but it's an impromptu question right now for other people via chat. Yeah, there's the impromptu question. What year was the Undertaker's last casket match? You get an extra, and if you do the year, the person, and the pay-per-view, you get an applause and you get a special shout out, and I will also plug your Twitter handle. So if you get the year, the person, and the pay-per-view all correct, you get a round of applause and a Twitter handle promotion. So Big stakes, ladies and gentlemen. Big stakes of that trivia question. So I think Rusev, of course, we know that Rusev wasn't going to win. I think that was very clear. But it's similar to the streak. I mean, you have people. It helps a lot of people's careers, as far as the streak is concerned, even though they lost. And I think I'm tired of seeing Jericho lose, and Jericho's real big on if I come back, it has to be a story type thing. Which is the reason why he did the whole Kenny Omega thing. And speaking of that, by the way, he said that his relationship with New Japan is pretty much non-existent anymore. He teased the thing with Naito and New Year's Dash, I think it was, and yeah, we'll see. Probably wrong, but the last one I remember was WrestleMania 22 against Mark Henry. That was 2006. Good try. Good try. That was that's incorrect, unfortunately, but very, very good attempt. He actually won against Mark Henry in another casket match on Raw. After that, a couple years after that, but that's not the correct answer either. So, what's the correct answer? The year, the person, and the pay-per-view. So yeah. I mean, this. It's a weird type of thing that they did there, and I think that Rusev just need to be very careful about not letting the whole Rusev Day popularity get to his head, and at the end of the day, you're still being watched by WWE like a hawk. Ask Dolph Ziggler.
Over, don't let it go to your head. WWE will change up stuff in a bit. The match was on, then it's Jericho, and it was not Jericho, and now it's back to Rusev. That's why Ziggler is in purgatory. Well, he's too vocal, and something. I've had Ken Shamrock on my show a few times, and other people have said the one good thing, and I think Dixie even said it. The one good and kind of bad thing is. WWE, if you're too vocal, that can hurt you.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're not at a certain level, if you're not like a Cena or Orton or a Triple H or Austin or someone that's like an A-lister that's untouchable, you speak your mind all you want, they're gonna chop you down right.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Big opportunity, go against Taker. You know you're gonna lose, but hey, take the rub and. There you go.
And and move on. We got a correct answer, ladies and gentlemen. So big round of applause for Brandon. Round of applause for Brandon. Big Show, Survivor Series 2008. So I'm gonna trust that you didn't Google that or look it up before you answered. So Brandon, go ahead and give us your Twitter handle, and you'll get some pub here on the show. All right. So next. Trivia question. Who were the members of the New Midnight Express? Woo! How about that? Who were the members of the New Midnight Express? I told you they're coming from everywhere. They're coming from everywhere tonight. The New Midnight Express. How about that? The next so Dixie Carter. Dixie Carter commenting on Bobby Lashley's return to WWE Raw. Yes, Travis. Great job. Bob Holly and Bart Gunn. Someone is saying Ricky Morton and Bob Eaton and Stan Lane. Nope. Travis had it correct. Bob Holly and Bart Gunn. Was it Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart? Oh, what a terrible, terrible tag team. And I like Holly and Bart Gunn. I was just talking to Bob Holly at WrestleMania weekend at a show. What's that? What's the guy? The one who got the Big Show right was Brandon.
I got one from Brandon.
Yeah.
Give me the name of the original Midnight Express.
Travis is the one. Travis got the new Midnight Express right. So the original, Evan's adding to the question. Part 2 is the original. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. They're the original Midnight Express. So that's a good one from the vault. So what are your thoughts on Dixie Carter? I mean, you know, she was a part of the Angle documentary. WWE interviewed her for that. So I'm wondering. Travis says Eaton and Dennis Condrey. Nope. Eaton wasn't a part of it. Bob Eaton and Dennis Condrey. Was it Randy Rose? Was it Randy Rose and Condrey? Yep. I know my stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I know my stuff. You know why I know my stuff? Because I do it for you. Oh, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. James said that was my pick. Oh, yeah, James. Sure was your pick after the fact. After the fact. That's my pick. That's like Jay Lethal saying, that's my line. Ric Flair originally saying that's my line. Mm-hmm.
Since James came in a little late, what was the original name of Ahmed Johnson's Pearl River Plunge?
What was the original name of Ahmed Johnson's Pearl River Plunge? Great question. What was the original name of Ahmed Johnson's Pearl River Plunge? Poor Ahmed Johnson, man. What a flash in the pan. Yeah. And I've heard some good things and some bad things about Ahmed. I've heard he's gotten better toward recently, but he's a bit hard-headed back then, unfortunately. Had the funniest promos. His promos were just terribly funny. I mean, they were funny and terrible. They were just it was horrible. Someone said, he's gained weight. He has gained weight, unfortunately. Yeah.
I'll answer real quick. He gained all the weight because the doctor, you keep in touch with me, you've been on my show a few times. The doctor messed up. He had back surgery. And the operation was bad at the hospital. That's one reason why he gained all that weight.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up losing it. Famous Ahmed Johnson, he actually called Go the Sweet Lips.
He did. He called Go the Sweet Lips, yeah.
And he also, I don't know if it was In Your House or on Monday Night Raw, Ahmed Johnson told Farouk and The Rock, yeah. I'll have both y'all same time tonight. Now, I don't know if he actually said the F word or not. The way he said it was hilarious. And I believe this was in the ring. It had to be a Raw, or it had to be a Monday Night Raw, I believe. It is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
What he made Warriors promos. Stuff a legend with the Flares and Dusty.
What got me the most memorable Ahmed Johnson promo? It was so bad. He was talking talking to Steve Austin, and he said, oh man, I used to remember verbatim, but he said, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's Monday night. He said, what you did to me Monday Night Raw was you stepped into the zone, my zone. You see, my zone is kind of like an end zone. Once you're in there, you score. And now, Steve Austin, I'm going to score on you. So Monday night, look out, because I'm coming to get you. It was so bad. Oh, it was so bad. You have to look at YouTube it. Ahmed Johnson, my zone. It was so bad. And I was like, oh my goodness, this was one of the worst promos I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad. Oh, yes. I've seen that. I had that game. I had that game, and I remember that. It was so bad, man. It was so bad. Oh, yeah. Yeah, good old Ahmed Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Him and his terrible promos. Next trivia question on deck, ladies and gentlemen. I'm coming to get you. What was Low-Key's name in WWE? What was Low-Key? What was Low-Key's name in WWE? Oh man. No, yeah. He just wasn't good in the promo department. Someone who was good on the promo department was Steve Austin. By the way, there was a trivia question from like a few weeks ago that was never answered, and someone answered it last week, and I still didn't say anything about it. I think it was Victoria and Jazz was the answer, whatever it was. I think it was Victoria and Jazz. But so Steve Austin, we talked about Nicholas, and I agree. I mean, Austin was not a fan. I'm trying to get the actual the actual quotes that I transcribed, which was, I mean, to me, he made a ton of sense. He said, Braun Strowman is over like Rover. And this is from the Steve Austin show. He said, Braun Strowman is over like Rover. A lot of potential, a lot of momentum. A lot of great storylines from him. But the fact that he goes out there in the crowd and picks some kid is almost a disservice. It's almost like a disservice to Cesaro and Sheamus, who've been working their butts off. He said the A word. We're working their butts off. Two physical specimens. Have really gotten some chemistry together as a team, not to be taken lightly. Braun's a big guy, but Cesaro's one of the strongest guys in the locker room. Sheamus is a brute. They can't monetize this person who was picked from the crowd, and I know I wasn't really down with it, and that's with respect to a darn good tag team like the Bar. And then Strowman picked someone from the crowd. You're walking a fine line with him because you have this brute force killer who's legitimately one of the biggest, strongest men in the world. It didn't do much for me. It pretty much says it. Pretty much sums it up, to me. And I think it's one of those things that if it was because we were talking, there was a bunch of people in the live crowd was talking about who could it be, and people thought there was like a Make-A-Wish kid. And to me, even if it was a good job, Nate. Okay, so at Brandon Nick 201, Brandon NIC 201. That's Brandon's hashtag. He gets the hashtag for getting that 3-part question right. Nate, good job. Caval, he wins the daggone Tough Enough, or what was it NXT or Tough Enough? I think it was the NXT tournament. NXT, he wins the NXT tournament. He gets to choose any championship, and he picks the Intercontinental Championship and loses. That was, they didn't have anything. He was DOA, basically. Nope, nobody said that. So, what is it? Yep.
It was originally called the Tiger Bomb.
The Tiger Bomb. Yep. The Tiger Bomb. Tiger Bomb, Came from the Tiger Suplex, the Tiger Driver. Yeah, good old Tiger Mask. Yeah. I do. The side salto suplex and all the variations of the kick said by Tony Schiavone in WCW. The Mafia kick, the Savate kick. Oh man. Just all those variations of the super kick. Mafia kick. Mm-hmm. Correct. The crescent kick. Yeah. Right. The crescent kick. Yeah. Shout out to Gorilla Monsoon. Yeah. All right. So these, let's just do the superstar shakeups. So there's been a bunch that's been announced on Raw, on social media. So what are your thoughts on? Yeah, what are your thoughts on the Raw and SmackDown superstar shakeups?
Well, one, you pretty much know where your career is in WWE. If the only way we know you got traded or drafted, whatever you want to call it now, is through social media.
Yeah, very true.
If you didn't get any airtime to make your appearance, then you're pretty much bothered.
Yep.
I just found out tonight that Zack Ryder got sent to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mojo.
So did Mojo. Yep.
But
yep.
It makes sense. A point one of my staff members mentioned on my show earlier is SmackDown basically took the dead weight of and I thought it was the dead weight of SmackDown, went over to Raw to try to get him over. Your boy Ginger Mahal, Ginger Juice, on Raw. Dolph Ziggler on Raw. Drew McIntyre, who we was on the same plane together coming back home from Mania. Nice dude on Raw, which he is a dead weight. Bobby Roode on Raw, which people care. It's funny how their tag match was two TNA World Champions, but
yeah.
The Rod Squad, I could care less. I signed down go with Breeze thing or whatever you call them. I ran into Tyler Breeze at Bourbon Street too at the meeting. Nice dude. He I thought it was okay, but Raw, I think Raw has enough star power to where it really doesn't matter who goes over. Because they still got Reigns, they still got Strowman, they still got Burn It Down Rollins, which I still don't understand what that means. They have, they still have Lashley. So I think the Raw, the actual Raw edition is actually pretty well. SmackDown saw it coming. Oscar, okay. Joe showing up on SmackDown really suits him because Joe actually, I just saw him. Great promo on Raw.
Oh, yeah.
Joe's really doing well on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think SmackDown better suits Joe. We get to see Joe against AJ Styles for the 372nd time.
Right.
But still, they'll be inside the WWE Universe for the first time ever.
Yeah, right. First time ever. Yeah. If it's not on WWE television, it's the first time ever. Yeah.
Showing up to SmackDown, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, this should be fun.
Right now, the man shop on SmackDown, that's a big giving. So overall, I thought so far the Echo shakeup, really enjoy it. My problem is we don't know what made them. You have GMs, but no one knows how the shakeup came about. Why did they end up going? They just downloaded on the show. Up, they're on Raw. Up, they're on SmackDown. Why?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I missed is the actual, you have GMs with angle and page, the actual reasoning of, okay, let's have this guy, I want that guy. But so far, well, just need to put Axel and Bo Dallas on the prayer list because now that Miz is on SmackDown,
yeah.
what are they going to do?
Yeah, that's true. Prayer request for them. Yeah. Yep.
I love how SmackDown did Back to the Future, how we just went back in time, 2005 before we have Randy Orton standing on the ramp, Jeff Hardy walking down the ramp next to him, and Shelton
Benjamin, right.
So all we need to do is get Chaz and Michael Cole.
Right. Exactly. Right. Have Kiona do the be the referee, Mike Kiona. And there you go. Kiona, man, he's ate a few. He's ate a few burgers on the weekends, man. He's yeah, he does. Very deep and raspy. Yeah. Yeah. I think both shows were good. And this is what I tweeted, and it's still a concern for me, especially on Raw. Raw was very, very just heavy, very, very heavy on talent. And I'm not confident that WWE will accurately book the talent that they stacked up with. I mean, granted, the last two Raws have been pretty good, and I think that's I wrote an article, I wrote a story about just the importance of Raw and SmackDown and how to WWE that's even more important than the WrestleMania, just from a residual standpoint. They want the high money television deals. You bring in the gate, with WrestleMania, but at the same time, television deals is where it's at. And so the emphasis is on Raw and SmackDown, especially the Raw after Mania. And so I think the Raw after Mania is just an entity of its own. The Superstar Shakeup is, the week after. And I like this. I like the Raw after Mania, and I like the Superstar Shakeup being the week after Raw and Raw after Mania, SmackDown after Mania, because people think of WrestleMania being the end of the wrestling year anyways, and then anything after that, the Raw after Mania being the reset button. So Raw after Mania has really grown its own identity, so having a shake up there wouldn't make sense. However, having the Superstar Shakeup a week after really kind of hits that reset button, and I like that. So if they do that every year, I'd definitely be a fan of that. As far as just the moves is concerned, I like. So when I was saying that, as far as just the overload of the stack overload, okay. So and there was a couple of things that I really had a problem with. I'm a big fan of Bobby Lashley. I liked him in TNA. I mean, I've liked Bobby Lashley I didn't like him when he was a heel because he was a good heel and I wanted him to lose. So he did his job very well. But I've just been a fan of Lashley's work ever since, 04, 05 WWE. I really wish that they make him the I guess you could say the first black WWE champion. People count The Rock. He's mixed, but the first black WWE champion. You can count him if you want. But at the same time, I really hope that they give it to Lashley. I don't know. I mean, I think he's 41 now, so or about to be 41. Either is 41 or about to be 41 this year. So I don't know. Actually, he might be even 42. He might even been born in 76. But that's a little older on the WWE age range as far as winning your first WWE championship nowadays. It's usually much younger. So, he'll be 42. He's 41 now. He'll be 42 in July. So, I don't know. I don't know. Franklin, yes, that's right. Franklin Robert Lashley, I think it is, right? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Brandon saying Brock Lesnar versus Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in SummerSlam. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be, and I think that Lesnar wouldn't have an issue putting Lashley over. I think SummerSlam's. I think that's it. I think that's what they're going to do. Lashley signed. Lesnar signed a short-term contract So most likely he's going to lose to Roman Reigns at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And so he'll be there for a few months after that. And I think probably his last match, most likely, it's seemingly, I mean, unless he puts himself, he hasn't even put himself in the USADA pool yet, the testing pool. And you have to be, I mean, you're eligible 6 months after you put yourself in the pool. So I don't know what he's waiting for because, ideally, a December comeback would be where, as far as UFC is concerned, but I don't know why he hasn't put himself in the pool yet. But I think just as far as a send off for Lesnar, I think Lashley at SummerSlam is probably where it's going to be. There's always the opportunity for Lesnar to resign again, but at this point, I think it's gotten to the point where it's about WrestleMania 20 reaction now with Lesnar. People just don't care about him being there anymore. They know about the UFC potential, and they're like, yeah, you've been here for 6 years now. You've done what you've done, and I think at this point there's not much left, for you to do. It was a good 6-year run, and thanks, definitely Hall of Fame worthy. Retire from WWE. Sign, there's nothing really left for him to do, as far as just, maybe put somebody else over, perhaps. Maybe have that clean loss against Braun Strowman. I mean, I guess you can do that. But other than that, there's not much left. But yeah, as far as the shakeup is concerned, it seems as if Natalya is going to turn on Ronda Rousey. I don't really care for Natalya Ronda Rousey feud right now, but I guess Natalya is a veteran, so I guess if anybody could work with Rousey as far as training, because they did the whole we train together thing too, so they probably really do train together. And if they want to feud against each other, I suppose Natalya is a good person to put Ronda Rousey over. So. I'm not too opposed though. I'm not too opposed with it, but I mean, Rousey has such that big name feel that it's pretty tough to find people kind of on her marquee popularity level that would make sense for her feuding. So, especially since Asuka went over to SmackDown Live, which I think is a good call. Ember Moon, big fan of Ember Moon. I've liked her work ever since NXT. Even before that, when she was Athena, I like the McIntyre thing. I think, and I'm happy for him too, man. I've had him on my show before. Very nice guy, and he was talking about how, he told me some things, and he was talking about how he was really loyal to TNA at the time, and just at that time, there were some contractual things. He was actually on his way. There's some talks with NXT when he was on my show, but he was talking about how just he wanted to he wanted to maintain a relationship with TNA, but just there was just the management at that time just was kind of falling apart. So we'll see. I don't think Ronda Rousey has seen the last of Stephanie McMahon. I agree. I think he'll do Rousey versus Stephanie at SummerSlam 1-on-1. And I think that Natalya will probably be the filler feud for the next couple months. And then the start of the summer, I say late spring, early summer is when they'll start Stephanie. Stephanie probably off. She did an email yesterday on Monday night on Raw. So it'll probably be that type of role. As far as appearing back on screen, I think probably late spring, early summer to set up her versus Rousey at SummerSlam to put her over again. So it should be pretty fun. So if we see Rousey versus Stephanie and Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in SummerSlam, I think that has an opportunity. I think it could be better than Mania. So we shall see. I just hope no 3MB, please don't do it to Drew. I agree. I agree. He looks like $1 million too, man. I mean, just think about how he was there 10 years ago, how he was, tall and slinky. And man, he looks like $1 million. He's got mass now. He's got some girth. He's not slinky anymore. I mean, he's been like that for a while. When he was in TNA, he got some body mass as well. But it seems like he's real defined now. Same thing with Cass. Kudos to Big Cass, man. He got himself in really good shape. And I'm kind of merging Raw and SmackDown now, but I like the shift. It was kind of like Big Cass. He didn't really look the part. It was he still had the baby face, and he was a big guy. It wasn't defined. Needed some work in the gym. Now, since he's been gone, he's really worked on himself. Looks really good, and he has more of a heelish persona because of his look now, because he's slimmed down and toned up. And so I think I really like the pairing of him and Daniel Bryan. I think that's great. I think that's a really good idea. Pairing him versus Daniel Bryan, the ultimate David versus Goliath feud, and it helps Cass because it's he's in the big feud with Daniel Bryan, who just came back, and of course it helps Daniel Bryan because it puts him in it really continues to kind of hone in and just kind of really add even more layers to that, that David and Goliath. He's always that ultimate underdog. That's why people love Daniel Bryan. I think feuding with Big Cass is a great call, man. I was a big fan of that. I like Hardy and Wyatt. I like that. Wyatt as a face was long overdue. Owens and Zayn on Raw. Yeah. I guess I'm a minority, but I'm starting to get. I'm just. Both of them were just growing way stale to me. I like Zayn as a heel, but now it's still kind of. I don't see it. It's just. Yeah, it's just stale. Just stale to me, unfortunately. Miz and Daniel Bryan SummerSlam too, so add that on there too. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good card if it's going to be those three matches. And I got a soft spot for Breezango, so them beating the Bar, I was okay with it, honestly. Yeah, I was okay with it. Authors of Pain, great team. I'm a fan of them, but just with no manager, I think there's a. Was it the Super Shredders?
No, it wasn't Super Shredder. It was the two creatures for the Secret of the Ooze, the one that degrew.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need a mouthpiece though. I mean, because like every time you see them in the ring, I mean, like that's. Yeah. Yeah. I like Authors of Pain. I like the gear. I like the music. They've grown so much in the ring because they don't have a wrestling background. I mean, I think Razor has a MMA background. Akam has an Olympic background, but I mean, wrestling, they don't have much experience, and they've grown leaps and bounds. I mean, I followed them since the day one. I mean, I didn't know who the heck they were. I was leery. Paul Ellering managing someone other than a Legion of Doom, to me, it's just like, I mean, they tried it. They tried it Attitude Era when he was managing the DOA, which I didn't think that was a good call. But but I think it fit. I mean, it started to work. It started to gel quite well. He to me, he was a very good balance to the Authors of Pain. It's just like you got this Godfather type of person. He has two enormous hitmen, and it worked. Now it's like, I mean, Ellering did send a tweet that said that it wasn't a traveling issue, but I'm not sure if I'm buying that. I'm not sure if I'm buying that because they need a mouthpiece. I mean, how are they going to sell themselves? You know, and why was their match with Rhino and Slater so competitive? I said that. I tweeted that. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that at all because you have to push your talent. If you keep having these competitive 50-50 matches, who's getting over? You know, why in the world would the Authors of Pain have a competitive match with Slater and Rhino? And it makes no sense. You're not putting over Slater and Rhino. You're not putting them over at all. So, and same thing with Asuka. That's the reason why Asuka, you know, her luster started to fade out a bit because they kept putting her in all these competitive matches with Emma and Dana Brooke. And I'm like, really? I mean, it was ridiculous to me. Same thing with Ember Moon. I mean, Mickie James is a shoo-in Hall of Famer. I said it before. If she retires tomorrow, she'll be in the Hall of Fame next year. She deserves it, every bit of it. But if you're trying to put Ember Moon over, you cannot. You have to make her look like a dominant force. She can't have these competitive matches with people you're not investing in. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. To me, it's very poor booking, and it takes away the tradition of really spending time to invest in people, to invest in wrestlers. And I tweeted this. I said Goldberg is in the Hall of Fame for a reason. His whole gimmick for most of his career was to come in, dominate, have short matches. You had 170 something, 173, I think it was, a streak, and the most of them, of course, except for that match against Regal that everybody knows about, most of his matches were come in, dominate, spear, jackhammer, done. And that's how he got over. If Goldberg would have had competitive matches in the very beginning. Now, the very beginning of the match, like when he was going against Hugh Morris and people like that, that was more competitive. But that's not what got Goldberg over. What got Goldberg over was the fact that he would come in, plow through his talent, spear, jackhammer, done. That's what got Goldberg over. That's how you build stars. If you're having these matches where you have these people who you want to build as dominant forces, and they have competitive matches against people who you haven't invested in months, it makes absolutely no sense. And I don't like that concept whatsoever. SmackDown, like I said, SmackDown was a solid show for me. I think this whole Superstar Shakeup this year was pretty good. I got it. Major kudos to it.
Daniel Bryan literally almost kissed the nipple of Big Cass. Like his face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see how tall Big Cass is.
Yeah.
And he looked good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did. Still harping Rowan. I mean, them beating up, those. You got Naomi, saving her bae now, and they're really pulling that on that emotion.
I'm actually glad Gallows and Anderson are going to.
Yeah, that I called that. I saw them coming. I knew that. I mean, they need to change the scenery too. I'm cool with them. I'm good with. Actually, I don't disagree with any of the change. I think Joe was I think Joe puts himself in the main event now. I think he kind of got shrouded in the stacked top talent. Now, since he's on SmackDown, I think he puts himself as a top contender. Asuka, of course, that'll be interesting to see where that goes. Sin Cara, is that still Hunico under the mask? It's like, what? he is not a cruiserweight anymore. Because I remember it has to be somebody else. Because just a few months ago he was big. I mean, Hunico's a big dude. He's not like Mystico, because Mystico was actually a smaller guy. But when they put it, because Hunico was, they have the Sin Cara Azil and the Sin Cara Negro, and the black and the blue, and Hunico was the heel Sin Cara. So and then he became the Sin Cara, and so he's gotten bigger over the years. But he got back in shape, and he was a big dude. He was, I remember he was feuding against Baron Corbin. And I was like, man, this he's a big dude. But SmackDown Sin Cara, I don't know who the heck that was. That just, yeah. Well, Suicide for a while was Christopher Daniels. And then there was T.J. Perkins for a while too, and there was somebody else. I forgot who it was. Yeah, because Arian played it for a little bit. It was also somebody else. It was somebody from Japan too. Somebody from Japan. I don't remember who it was. But yeah. It was. I don't know. I don't know who Sin Cara was, but. The Iconics, yeah, from NXT.
One thing is this: Charlotte gets beat up, Becky Lynch. Asuka comes out to save it. Why are you dancing? I'm getting my tail whipped.
Right.
Why are you sitting there dancing before you run out? I mean, if you wanted to do her dancing, you could have did a segment where they talking and Asuka comes out or something, and then she can come. You don't got time to be dancing.
Right.
You got time to do a run-in.
Yeah.
Like, can you see in that?
Right. Yeah. That was odd.
That will be a 6-lady tag.
Right. Yeah.
Really,
that was obvious. Yeah. Brandon said, I'm with you on the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Yeah. Granny said, travel issue. Really, I don't buy that at all. Yeah, I agree with that regarding Ellering. All right, so Kiyoshi was the person I was thinking of from Japan. And then, like you said, Daniels Kazarian. Now it's Caleb Conley from TNA. Caleb Conley. I actually saw him. He was on the show that I was covering on WrestleMania weekend. And, of course, Caleb Conley, he teamed with Trevor Lee for a while. So now he's Suicide. So that's interesting. And Jonathan Gresham. Did I know that? Jonathan Gresham is fantastic. He's in Ring of Honor. I don't know if I knew that Jonathan Gresham was. I wonder when he was Suicide. We'll bring him on the show and talk about his Suicide run. Because Gresham's small. He's a small guy. I don't know. He's a smaller guy. Because Conley's 6 foot. Gresham's 5'4". So he's a small guy. The WWA 4 wrestling school. That's the school that's AR Fox runs, I believe, in Atlanta. So there you go. Nice prodigy there. I think that's the school that AR Fox runs. All right. So yeah, overall it was pretty good. Altogether, I think Anderson and Gallows would be good on there, and AJ Styles is on there. So the club, not the Balor Club, but the club. Yeah, that's the one that AR Fox runs. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So the club could come back. Hardy, I wrote a story about Hardy being backstage, so I knew that it was coming. We'll see with Almas. I think it was about time to bring him up, but we'll see where they put him. I don't see any. I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do with him as far as just the stack. I don't see him as a main event talent. If they make him a mid card talent, I think matches with him and Jeff Hardy would be really good. I don't know. I just don't see him anytime soon as a top talent with Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad. I think makes a really good addition to the group. I've had Thea on my show before. Very nice lady. So yeah, we'll see. All right. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we got a few minutes left. We got some casket match history to talk about. Should be pretty fun. Real quick, further away. Here we go.
It is now time for the flavor of the week.
All right. So there has been, I believe, 28. If I'm not mistaken, 20. Not 28, but a total of. There's been a total of 18 casket matches. Taker has been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 out of the 18 casket matches. The ones that he wasn't in was so I remember Minion and Viscera, SmackDown in 1999. Triple H had like a bunch of gimmick matches that he had to wrestle in one night. Minion and Viscera was the casket match. They actually beat Triple H that night. And then Kane beat Triple H in 2002 on Raw. So Triple H doesn't have a very successful casket match history. Undertaker lost to Orton and Bob Orton Sr. and Orton Jr. at No Mercy. I do remember that. And then Taker beat Henry at 22. We got a comment that said that on the show here from one of the listeners, chat room. And then beat Henry, like I mentioned before, on Raw 2008. And then Taker had 3 casket matches within a few months of each other. I thought that was weird. March of 2008, Henry, and then Chavo on SmackDown. And then a few weeks later, Big Show on Survivor Series, which is weird. Daniel Bryan beating Kane on SmackDown. That was the last match. That was the last casket match, actually, January 29th, 2015. Oddly enough, it was in Hartford, Connecticut, which was the home of Raw yesterday. Michaels beating The Undertaker, Royal Rumble 98. That was a pretty good one. Raw, Undertaker versus Kane. Undertaker versus Rock on Raw, 99. That was interesting. Yep. I remember the Goldust beating Taker at In Your House with the help of Mankind. And then Taker for the first, bunch. So 92 was Kamala Survivor Series, which was in Ohio. And then Yokozuna, of course, Royal Rumble 94 when Marty Jannetty was actually risen from okay, so I'm glad you said that. I actually had that in my notes. No Nikki Cross with Sanity. Her picture was not with Sanity, so that should be interesting. I wonder why not. They should bring her up, but that's odd. So very, very interesting stuff. Very, very, very interesting stuff about Nikki Cross not being a part of. So they're going to keep her down on NXT. So I wonder if she's still going to keep the Sanity type of gimmick on NXT with the music, and because it fits her quite well. That would be odd if they just gave her something different. But yeah, so Taker losing to Yokozuna when they had all the people jump. Who was it? Jared, Bam Bam. I think they had Kabuki. I think Kabuki was one of the people. Was it? I think was it Diesel? Yeah, Didn't they have Diesel in there too? Yeah, I think it was a bunch of heels. Undertaker defeated Fighting Machine Kama in a casket match at SummerSlam 95. That is correct. He also defeated Kama in Your House that year too, casket match. So 2 years later, Taker beats Yokozuna. That was on with Chuck Norris, so that was one of the most memorable ones. So, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. 18 casket matches. So this will be the 19th casket match with the Undertaker against Rusev, and add to Undertaker's winning streak of casket matches, which is he's won 4 straight. He's only lost. He lost 3. Let's see. He lost to 4. Lost to Yoko, lost to Goldust, lost to Michaels, and lost to the Ortons. So yeah, 4. Pretty impressive casket match. I mean, seeing how it's stemmed from him, it makes sense that. Well, Hell in a Cell stemmed from him too. He's actually the originator of a few gimmicks. Hell in a Cell, Buried Alive, yeah, and then the casket match. Yeah, yep, that was really odd, and he ended up killing Prod Bear anyways. He ended up pulling the lever, which was really odd. And then the Inferno match. That was him and Kane. That was that feud Inferno match. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, fun show. Episode 316 in the books, ladies and gentlemen. Big thank you to AR Fox. Big shout out to AR Fox with the WW4 for promotion, the WW4A training school. WW4 ATL, I believe, is the website for that. I think. Let's find out real quick. WW4 ATL. So follow him. Follow AR Fox. Yeah, I think it was the WW4A, I believe. So yeah, follow Fox to get to that information. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for continuing to support the show. I'm trying to get that information for you. There you go. WWA4 is what it is. WWA4 Wrestling School. AR Fox, ladies and gentlemen. All right, thank you so much. 316 episodes in the books. Thank you so much for the wonderful support. Awesome interaction as always. Until next week, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless. And ladies and gentlemen, always remember, I do it for you. Have a good night. God bless.